It's a move that has long been threatened by Israel. It's launched its ground offensive now on Gaza City. The Defense Minister, Israel Katz, declaring that today Gaza is burning. Israeli troops are pushing deeper into the city, aiming to root out an estimated 3,000 Hamas fighters. International calls for Israel to abandon the offensive have been multiplying. Thousands are fleeing the bombardments, but many more still remain. Katz has vowed that the military will strike with an iron fist to defeat Hamas and free hostages. Daniel Quinlan reports.
Gridlock on the only safe road out of Gaza City as civilians try to flee the long-promised ground assault on the Strip's capital. In the lead-up, the city was pounded as the IDF attempted to prepare the ground for its troops. Palestinian civilians continue to pay a devastating cost.
An entire family from Dar Zakut, 40 people. Among them are children, my daughter's children, my daughter and her husband, her uncle's house and his children. There are newborns, no more than a month old. About 40 people are under the rubble.
An IDF spokesman confirmed what had been clear all day.
Last night, the IDF expanded ground activity in Gaza City, marking the start of the new phase of the operation. Working together in coordinated and precise strikes, air, ground and intelligence forces are targeting Hamas military targets that threaten Israel's security.
Less clear is how long the operation will go on. The UN denounced what it called the systematic destruction in the Strip.
What happens in Gaza today is horrendous. We are seeing massive destruction of neighborhoods, now the systematic destruction of Gaza City. We are seeing massive killing of civilians in a way that I do not remember in any conflict since I am Secretary General.
With no negotiations currently underway, the hope of respite for civilians is increasingly remote.
Israeli tanks are pushing deeper into Gaza City, even as a damning new UN report declares Israel's war amounts to genocide. The findings come from an independent UN-mandated commission, the first to formally accuse Israel of committing genocide. Well, the 72-page report cites not just mass destruction, but intent. That's a crucial element of the crime that is the hardest to prove. It comes as the war nears its second year and pressure on Israel intensifies. Well, let's bring in Oliver Mc Ternan, who is the director of the think tank Forward Thinking. Oliver, thank you so much for joining us on the program. We've had several rounds of operations and invasions during this war, but this time it's different, isn't it? Because Gaza City is the largest population center in the enclave and also the cultural heart of Gaza.
Yes, and the devastation that we're seeing is just horrendous. I know Gaza City well. I've been going there for the past 20 years on a regular basis, and it's unimaginable how people are coping with the level of bombardment, shelling, and now the actual ground invasion of troops. But they have nowhere to go. What I'm getting messages from the people is say, where do we go? Life is a lottery. We don't know whether we'll be alive in the next 5 minutes, let alone tomorrow.
It's incredibly scary. A leading think tank in Israel is warning that this military operation to capture Gaza City without any mediation channel could carry unnecessary risks. Where does this operation and this all-out offensive leave those negotiations to get a ceasefire in this war?
Well, I think there will not be a ceasefire until President Trump says enough, stop it. I don't think Netanyahu, right from day one, has had any intention of stopping this war. It was his main objective to see the demise of Hamas. The only way we will see the demise of Hamas is the end of occupation and the establishment of a viable Palestinian state, not a paper state, but a state with agency, a state with structures that it can operate. And it's only that will provide Israel with the security that it has a right to and it desires.
Oliver, Earlier today, we did have that announcement from that independent UN commission that found that Israel's war does amount to genocide. It found that 4 out of the 5 acts defined as genocide were being committed in Gaza: killing of members of a group, causing serious bodily and mental harm, deliberately inflicting life-threatening conditions, and preventing births. This really does present a very damning and serious indictment of Israel's actions, doesn't it?
Well, I hope the report will make the international community wake up, because we've been very good at words up until now, but we haven't actually acted on those words. I was listening to Arab Barghouti, the son of Marwan Barghouti, has been in prison for the last 20 years. His response to the report was, we didn't need a report to know what's happening. And I had a very similar response from a friend in Gaza this morning, saying, that it's tragically sad that it's taken 700 days for the international community to voice the horror of what we're witnessing on our screens practically every night, at least on our social media. Those who receive uncensored videos from Gaza have been acutely aware that there's been indiscriminate killing.
Well, as you mentioned there, this isn't the first time that Israel has been accused of genocide. 2 years ago, South Africa accused Israel of genocide at the ICJ. You also had in April Amnesty International find that Israel was committing a, quote, live-streamed genocide. Do these declarations have any real effect? I mean, you said that this can't just be words. Is there any impact that this could have?
Well, it won't, insofar as America is seeing no red lines, not even daylight between itself and Israel. I think the presence of Rubio and his sort of holiday attitude in Jerusalem today, in light of this report, was just horrendous. I was in Jerusalem last week. I spent some time in the Knesset. I spent a lot of time talking to politicians, and many of them recognize, and especially the advisors and the chiefs of staff, that they are living in a bubble, that they are actually, their politics and their social life are combined. So there's very, very little challenge. And I think the sadness for me is that Israel now is locked in its own disinformation. People are absolutely certain that the campaign to, the propaganda campaign, that actually what it is saying is correct. And until they move from that mindset, I really do worry about the future of Israel, its security, but more so, goodness, what's going to happen to the 2.3 million people living in Gaza? I mean, it's just a horrendous daily nightmare, night and day, that they're living through.
Well, Israel has responded to the accusation from that independent commission at the UN. The Foreign Ministry accused the commission of serving as Hamas proxies and relying entirely on Hamas falsehoods. I mean, at this point, over 64,000 people have been killed by this campaign in Gaza. There's a real lack of accountability here, isn't there, when it comes to the deaths that are going on?
A total lack of accountability. And the reason is we're forgetting that this war did not start on October the 7th. It's part of a cycle of violence of 8 or 9 wars that have been going on for the past 80 years. And I think that that's what we've got to wake up to. It's been the failure of the international community to hold Israel to account. And Israel has every right to its security. It's every right to be able to exist in peace in the region. But until it shifts from this mindset of dominance, that it has got to control its neighbor totally, I think it'll never enjoy that security. We keep forgetting that what we're witnessing is an assault on an occupied territory. In international law, Gaza is occupied territory. In international law, according to the Geneva Convention, the occupier has a responsibility to protect the civilian population, an obligation to provide education, health, food, etc. We've seen that just pushed aside without any accountability. And until, as I say, like, for example, in Doha yesterday, we had a lot of high words, condemnation, but no actual direct action until Israel is held accountable for what is happening. I do fear for its future.
Oliver, thank you so much for joining us on the programme. Good to speak to you as always. Thank you for your analysis on this topic. Thank you.